talk about today is called compose. I know it's something some of us have been seeing before, because we have some gurus here. So it is called compose. So what is composed? Be composed. Compose is the act of putting two functions together to form a third function, where the output of one function is the input of the other function. So I know that sounds confusing again, right? So I think the best thing is just, let's write it out. So a compose looks like this. Oops. A compose looks like this. Where's the declare the variable first? A compose looks something like this. I know if you are a mathematical student, you would have seen this before in school. I'd be like, I used to see this in advanced maths. So a compose looks something like this. Oh boy. Oh boy. So this is a compose, which is the same thing like this when we are writing our old ways of writing code. I compose, then takes two parameters, f and g, then it returns a function that takes a as parameter, then inside there it's return f, g, then a, which is also a function. Oh boy. Oh, I made a mistake. I actually pressed the, how's it called? Instead of curly bracket, I used square brackets. So this is a compose. So what is happening here? Okay, it is a function that takes f and g as parameters. Then it returns a function that takes a as parameter, that returns a function that has this. So that is compose. It's the same thing that we have here, just on a single line. A compose is a function that takes two parameters, f and g. It returns another function that takes a as parameter, which returns another function, which is fga that we have here. So if you look at this, you have no idea of what is going on. I know. This is something that takes years for some people to actually understand, to get. Even me too. The first time I saw it, I was like, oh boy. But trust me, you might not be using it, but at least it's okay for us to understand what a compose is, just in case we come across that in the wild, and probably you are with your co-programmers and they're like showing their technical skills and just like, what are you doing? Is that not compose? I know how to write a compose. So it is really, really an advanced concept. And that is why we are here. We don't just want to be some Jeko programmers. We want to know the advanced concepts. But if you are able to understand the inner workings of this, you can pretty much do anything. So let's just give it a go and let's understand what is happening here. Well, like we used to do, I just wrote that out so that we can see the old ways and compare it with the new ways. So I'm just going to comment this out. So looking at this last return function, f and g here, it looks like f is a function. You can see it. It's a function that has, it's just like a function that has parameter, which has g, which g is also a function that has a as a parameter, and a is just a value. So here, f looks like it's a function because we have these brackets. You can see that, and thank God I'm using, what's it called? Prettier. And it's going to add colors to my bracket so that you know which brackets are paired together. So we have f, which is a function, because of these brackets, and g is also a function that has a value of a as a parameter. So if, let's say I have a sum, let's say I have another function here, function sum, const sum, which takes a parameter of number, and this returns number plus 1. Yeah. Okay. So we can do what can we do with compose? I can say compose, then sum, that particular function sum, take it as a parameter, and that sum take it as parameter. Then let's say I have what can we have here? I have 5. Let's do 5. So both f and g in this particular scenario, you can see that we have compose. So in normal day, this is saying compose f, g, then a. That is what I'm actually doing. So we have f to be sum, and I'm also passing sum also to as an argument to replace or in place of g. Then I'm having a, which is 5 here. So that is what we're actually doing. So both f and g are sum, and because it takes another bracket, so I can actually put 5 here as a value. So the best thing is, let's try to run this in the console and let's see what we have. So if I close this, so let's paste it here, and should we run it? Yep. So let's see what it does, and we can go line by line. Oops, I got 7 back. How come? What's happening? So why is that? Well, let's take it one by one, one after the other. So here, if both G and F are sum, like I'm using sum, whatever value that I have there to replace F, whatever value that I still have to replace G, and I have A to be 5. So we got 7 back. And why is that? The reason is, if you look at this compose, we have 2 brackets, and we are executing the first one, which is this. So which is the first part of the function, which returns another function, which is this. So we are executing the first part of the function, so which takes f and g, then returns a. So it returns another function that returns this fga. So within it, if we give a to be 5, like we have here, so we say a should be 5. So when this runs, it says a equals 5. So it's going to replace wherever we have a to be equals 5. So here we have a to be equals 5, and also here we have a to be equals 5. So then it runs the inner function, which is g, and in this case g is what we have, g to be sum. So it's going to go into sum and check, like, okay, let's replace this. It's going to replace it with sum, which is g, and comes here, replace it with sum, which is g. And what do we have in sum? Well, we have sum a. I have a question from someone. I hope my mic is working. Is the mic working? So while that is still thinking of coming up, so we have sum 5. And if you go into the function of sum 5, it means like sum is receiving 5, which is this, and is returning 5 plus 1, which is 6. So this changes to 6, and now we have our sum to be 6. So this also changes to 6. So we have 6 here. This also changes to 6. I think I got the chat, but I clicked on it. It's not opening. Wow. Okay. Leave the class now. Kindly help upload the video. Okay. I'll upload the video. Don't worry. So this changes to 6 because sum is now 6, and this changes to 6. And then finally, the f function runs, which again, f is what? We have sum. So it's going to go here again and check sum and replace it with number, which is a, and we have 5, and it's also going to do what? Return 6 back. So if we have, okay, now we have sum, which is 6. So 6 goes here, and it sees number plus 1. Number plus 1. So now, this is going to be 6 plus 1, and it's going to return 7. And here we have f, which is f of 6, to be 7. So that is what is happening, and we got 7 back. Oh boy, that's much. So the whole thing is going to return 7 back. So I know, there was a lot of um, tons of stuff to learn, but I want you to remember these 3 keywords, because when it gets to advanced JavaScript, when you are talking about advanced functions in JavaScript, these 3 keywords are very, very important. So most times you hear things like, oops. So most times you hear these words. You hear closures. So if you still don't understand, just try to rewatch the video. You hear currying and you hear compose when you're talking about advanced JavaScript. So you hear that a lot. And you'll find tools and libraries that use this, heavily. So now you don't have to know their definitions unless you want to go for a what's it called, a theoretical interview whereby they will be asking you what is currying. But trust me, I've never been to any interview and they'll be asking me what is closure, what is currying, what is compose. What they want to know is, can you write code? Okay, let's see your code. How clean is it? How organized are you? So nobody is going to ask you what is the definition of closure? No. So you just need to be able to read a piece of code and understand what is actually going on. And this is why I'm actually showing you this. So although it is really, really advanced and very hard to grasp, but by understanding the step-by-step process of how a function works, it becomes really, really simple. And when you encounter this in the wild, in life, maybe in a real life scenario, you will understand how everything works. So that is that about closures, currying, and compose. So we can now call ourselves advanced programmers. But then, before we go, there is this concept I actually need to talk about. Because I know we are like, Ridwan, after this class, I'm going to practice and I'm going to send you my whatever I come up with. There is this concept, and this is what we are going to finish up the section with. So let me write it out first. We have, okay, oops. Let me call the video.